People who I honestly thought were allies have now turned their back on us.
Is it safe to come here?
We do have families that are afraid.
It is being used to divide. It's being used to separate.
There's not another place like this in the country.
I didn't know that I would get this much support.
We welcome everybody.
We'll rebound from this.
Now, a WPBF 25 special, Project Community, celebrating Pride Month. Here are Tiffany Kenny, Aaron Guy, and Nathalie Pozo.
The start of June marked the beginning of Pride Month,
a season to recognize the LGBTQ+ community and a time advocates say to protest against attacks on civil rights. This year's celebrations are happening in a contentious political environment.
The LGBTQ+ community in Florida says they feel like they've been targeted by state lawmakers.
It's very supportive having all these people around me, knowing that it's not just me who feel lonely and knowing that I'm going through this transition alone.
Zayden Hogans is transgender and was about to be homeless when he discovered Vida Nova's housing program in West Palm Beach.
Ooh.
A place to live for young people out of foster care, LGBTQ+, and other homeless youth.
I didn't know that being transgender was actually a thing. I wanted to be a boy, but I didn't know if that was even possible. And I didn't know that I would get this much support.
In addition to housing, young people can drop in for showers, food, or to do laundry.
Brittany, so how many youth do you serve a year?
We serve about 500 youth in a year.
The organization also helps with employment opportunities and services.
We have 30% that are LGBTQ. I can only foresee that number becoming greater because the need of their LGBT is going to be higher. Resources are going to be very limited for them. And luckily, we're here to assist in whatever way we can for the community. Youth are allowed to be as creative as they can be.
Brittany Ashley, housing director at Vida Nova Village, is talking about Florida's new laws. They place restrictions on gender-affirming treatments for minors, bathroom use, and which pronouns can be used in school. Advocates say these measures ensure that parents have control over what their students learn in school, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the new restrictions allow kids to be kids.
It's very concerning.
LGBTQ+ advocates call the laws hostile and dangerous.
High population of individuals with needs that won't be met, whether it's doctor's appointments, whether it's shelter, whether it's even them seeking help because they're afraid to seek help because of the new legislation.
Everything that you see is our voice, Faces of Pride exhibit.
At Compass Community Center in Lake Worth, they have not stopped getting calls.
People asking us what we should do or what they should do. Is it safe to come here?
Michael Reardon remembers how hard it was.
I was in that place and it was a dark place. And I got very close to doing something very permanent and very irreversible that would have kept me from being here.
Julie Seaver, the CEO at Compass, says the most damaging is the impact on mental health. As a result, some families are moving out of Florida.
We do have families that are afraid for their LGBTQ children. We have even experienced staff who unfortunately feel like they cannot stay. Folks are getting nervous and are experiencing hate from their neighbors, and they feel like they're being discriminated against in employment and housing.
Earlier this month, a federal judge temporarily blocked portions of Florida's law banning transgender minors from getting puberty blockers. Supporters like State Representative John Snyder of Martin County says these procedures and treatments do more harm than good.
There's been growing just revelation that the gender reassignment surgeries on minors, the puberty blockers, some of the medications that are being prescribed, in fact, are doing tremendous amounts of harm to our kids.
Meanwhile, Zayden will continue watching to see what happens.
I actually have 6 months of testosterone left, so if anything happens, I still have my medicine to take. But they're trying as hard as they can, and I don't think it should stop anybody. This actually makes the LGBT community very strong and very inspired to come out even more.
With the new laws, this just adds another barrier that, you know, we will overcome, and we just keep going.
I want all the politicians that pass these laws to know something very important. When you or someone you love needs our help, we will be here to give it, no matter what. We will welcome you and your family with open arms.
Some people still say the new changes are confusing, including drag show performances.
Critics are calling it anti-drag, but as anchor Felicia Rodriguez explains, they are still legal here in Florida.
Shalita Taylor knows how to work a crowd. He's been performing for 20 years.
I've been on stage since I was 7. It started off in theater, musical theater, dance classes, and as I got older, I always had an interest in drag. I found it very fascinating on an artistic level. You know, the hair, the makeup, the costuming.
A federal judge recently temporarily blocked a new Florida law critics say targets drag shows and their performers. According to the law, venues would have to ensure children are not allowed in any adult performance, or the business risks paying a fine, having their license suspended, or losing their license.
Every drag queen is given specific instructions as to what they can and cannot do, what they can and cannot wear, what kind of music they can perform. We make sure that this is something that I would find appropriate for my nieces and nephews to see. You know, so we're not giving the same performances you would see at a nightclub or something like that.
Republican Representative Randy Fine from Brevard County sponsored the bill. He says parents would not be responsible for violating the law.
I think we've reached a point in our society where we're having debates that I never could have thought that we would be having when I ran for office 8 years ago.
Members of the LGBTQ community say it's fueling hateful rhetoric.
People who I honestly thought were allies have now turned their back on us. And it's really, really sad to see all that play out that way. It really is. It's gotten really scary. I've started considering having security at my shows.
Shalita says it's more about art and freedom of self-expression through performance. Chris Rhodes has been producing drag shows for 9 years. After a brief hiatus following the new law, he says the shows are back in West Palm Beach.
We don't want to take any chances, so, you know, I have a new night again back at Hullabaloo, so we've added the 18-year-old and up age requirement for that dinner show.
You know, we're not out there trying to groom somebody's children, we're just trying to entertain. I've been on stage since I was 7 years old. It's all I know how to do, is entertain. And I want everyone in my audience to have a good time and feel comfortable and feel the love that we're trying to spread in the world.
During Pride, there are a lot of events happening all month long. Recently, Pride on the Block kicked off in downtown West Palm Beach, an annual block party and fundraiser that drew crowds from all over South Florida to celebrate and support the local LGBTQ+ nonprofit called Transpire Help.
Their mission is to provide a place where patients can heal from trauma and addiction.
Stephen Graves visited the treatment center and sat down with some local people who shared their personal stories.
For some, it can be hard to picture a place like this.
There's no photoshopping. This was all real pictures.
And what's the point of having this here when people come in here? This greets people when they come in.
So I think what it does is it shows that we are a little bit of a different type of place. We're not your typical treatment center, that we really value having people be their authentic self.
That is the mantra at Transpire Help in West Palm Beach, an LGBTQ+ organization with a focus on the trans and queer community.
This is a therapist.
CEO and founder Donna Weinberger brings in therapists, training them on how to be trauma-informed. So this is your space.
This is my space.
Weinberger sees that skill as important from her past work in other treatment centers.
This is where the clients do their life skills.
Weinberger, who identifies as genderqueer, says this makes her center unique.
This is our gender diversity support group. It's a free support group to the community. There's not another place like this in the country. And what I was seeing is that a trans or a queer person would go to a substance use treatment center and they would experience more trauma.
Dominique Johnson has been sober for the past 3 months and has even picked up performing in shows.
It's a 180 turnaround because where I started at, I was lost. Like I said, I was lost. I wasn't determined. And now today I have life. I have sobriety. I have real friends. I have vulnerability where I can share on any topic and express things. And I can actually trust, that this way is the way to go to lead me in a better path on the right direction.
And hard work here earns you rewards and even credit.
This is one of our chances to celebrate somebody very, very special.
You're looking at one participant's graduation. They're recognized as they go into the real world with a new support system.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Sometimes they have new jobs and a criminal record with drug offenses wiped clean. Malaysia Hill is a success story.
Once upon arrival here, I came in a police paddy wagon, and I was cuffed from my neck to my belly to my arms to my feet, as if I committed murder, but it was just a drug charge. It wasn't to hear that I actually was able to breathe, so I did 5 months behind bars before I even found this place, and I was just a number or a last name. I wasn't an individual. I wasn't Malaysia. I had no identity. And so for many years, and then those months, I thought I had no identity. So when I came here, this wonderful place gave me a voice.
Hill now has a full-time job as a manager at Walmart. As an alumnus, she comes back to share her story.
The hate that comes in our world today comes from untreated traumas. And I think a lot of this world has untreated traumas. Go see a therapist. There's nothing wrong with therapy. Go see a psychiatrist if you need it, but get that trauma out of you, because I think that's what blocks us from having communication and love languages with each other, because we have stuff that we have not dealt with.
It's body, mind, and not just talk and medication.
At the core, that's this place's mission. They advocate for rights, holding pride events with purpose to find more people to help.
Pride Month and Pride festivals, they may be the very thing that allows a person to feel worth enough to live for another year.
The only requirement we have of anybody who either plays with our league or attends our event is that you bring the best of you, and you come and you make a day better because you're there.
Coming up, exploring the sport of polo, the inspiration behind the only gay league in the world. Plus, Running for Charity, the local group taking to the streets to celebrate diversity. You're watching Project Community, celebrating Pride Month.
The Night Runners hosted its third annual charity 5K in West Palm Beach this month.
We're talking hundreds of people walked and ran downtown recently, raising thousands of dollars, which will go to local organizations. Nathaniel Carrasco was the male winner. The female winner was Kay Traeger, and the non-binary winner was Nicole Morse.
Congratulations to everyone. The Night Runners is a nonprofit run by volunteers who celebrate diversity and the LGBTQ+ community. Anyone is invited to the free weekly runs.
Now to another sport, how the Gay Polo League has changed the face of one of the world's oldest known team sports. Chip McKenney is the face and force behind the Gay Polo League.
The Gay Polo League is an organization that I founded back in 2006, primarily as an avenue and as a vehicle to bring LGBT polo players together to celebrate the sport. We're the only one in the world. Generally, the feedback about the GPL, even from the beginning, has been one of great interest, great support. We've been welcomed by the polo community as a whole, globally, and I would organize it at the Santa Barbara Polo Club, and it was one day a month.
The GPL features its flagship event each year in early April in Wellington. This year, the International Gay Polo Tournament attracted players from 8 countries.
We're almost as famous for our tailgate competition as we are for our polo playing. GPL events, we're like the love child between Burning Man and Pretty Woman. Like, we bring all that creative, we're a little bit elevated, if not a lot elevated in our presentation, and we welcome everybody. And the only requirement we have of anybody who either plays with our league or attends our event is that you bring the best of you. And you come and you make a day better because you're there. I would say the one interesting thing about the sport of polo in and of itself is you can play at all ages and at all different levels. Our youngest is, I think, 22 now. And our oldest member is 75, and I'm happy to say that's not me. I'm 66 and I still play, and I love it. And I'm going to play the rest of my life. He seems to be feeling great.
Yeah, she's doing really good.
Yeah.
For McKenney, GPL is more than just about polo matches. It's how he met his match for life.
My husband, Gustavo La Rosa, he and I met in Argentina at the Argentine Polo Open finals. It was an after party. There were 20,000 people there and we met. He didn't speak a word of English. I spoke no Spanish. But what brought us together was really that polo event and a shared passion for horses. Players can change horses during a chukker. The message I would like people to hear about the GPL is while we are gay identified, we're inclusive, not exclusive. And it's wonderful that we attract people within our own communities who want to play as out and proud gay athletes in a team sport, because you don't see that. Even in mainstream media or mainstream sports, you don't see that. Part of the experience that most gay people have is a sense of being different and on the outside looking in. So for many, many people in our community growing up, they go towards solo sports, skiing, tennis, ice skating, perhaps, all those sports. And shy away from team sports. So I feel like we're modeling the behavior that hopefully others will follow. So one day, young kids interested in team sports will understand it is a safe place for them. They can be competitive, they can shine, and they can be LGBTQ+.
The next big event is GPL International England, taking place in London. For more on that event and the Gay Polo League in Wellington, go to WPBF.com.
You won't be accepted, you'll be celebrated.
Up next, inside the Connie House. Why there's only a few LGBTQ+ assisted living homes in the whole country.
Now to Boynton Beach, where an assisted living facility just opened that supports seniors.
It's run by the Pride Tribe. It's a nonprofit organization that connects people to various resources and helps them find a safe place to call home.
I recently took a tour of the Connie House. It's one of only a few in the country.
I really wasn't thrilled about putting the sprinkler system in because I want it to be a home atmosphere.
In between the safety equipment, fire alarms, handles, and rails, you'll find charm and spice inside the Connie House.
I bought the house and this was what you might call a nook or something or other, and I looked at it and I was like, we need a disco ball.
The owner and developer, Alan Hendricks, calls it a vibe.
It'll feel more like family. Like there's no question that they will get love and care here.
The house is named after the late Connie Kurtz. She and her partner, Ruth Berman, were champions for equal rights.
They were the first to sue the great state of New York, the school board, for domestic partnership benefits. She really had a very wide variety of artwork. The LGBT community has been talking about how do we serve our elder communities? What do we do? How do we protect them? How do we keep them safe? How do we keep them happy and healthy?
They take insurance and are working to get approved for Medicaid. There will be full-time medical staff and around-the-clock care. Board member John Beck has seen the vision become a reality.
We've had several people say, wow, that's really overdue.
And on top of the 24-hour care, there will be LGBTQ+ planned activities, guests, and field trips.
You won't be accepted, you'll be celebrated.
Ruth Berman, Connie's partner, still continues to be an advocate for the community. In fact, just last month, lawmakers announced a bill in the U.S. House, the Ruthie and Connie LGBTQI Elder Americans Act, to honor the couple and address needed care and services for seniors.